Hi, I'm Zach Jeffries, and welcome to Saskatoon in Focus, where we get behind and in the headlines and talk to the people who make Saskatoon the city that it is today. Today I'm happy to be joined by Trevor Forrest, who is the Executive Director of the Saskatoon Community Foundation. Trevor, thanks for joining us.
Hi Zach, an old friend. Good to see you again.
Yes, absolutely. So Trevor, a lot of people see the name Saskatoon Community Foundation in the newspaper. They see it as related to a number of events. But what is the Saskatoon Community Foundation, and what does it do?
Saskatoon Community Foundation is a charity that people can make a gift to, you receive a charitable donation. And the unique thing about Saskatoon Community Foundation is that the money is placed in a trust account or an endowment, as some people would say. The money is never spent, the donation is never spent, and only the income off that gift is used in perpetuity to support charities only in Saskatoon. So very nutshell, it's for Saskatoon and it is forever.
So what would be the biggest difference then between, let's say, the Saskatoon Community Foundation and the United Way? They're both organizations that are out there asking for donations and asking for contributions. Is it that the Saskatoon Community Foundation doesn't actually spend that donation itself?
Both of us obviously have a focus on community in Saskatoon. The United Way primarily concerns itself with social service agencies, where the Saskatoon Community Foundation, we support charities of all aspects of our society. We call ourselves a 360-degree grantor, so we would support charities that are involved in arts and environment and education health, where the United Way tends to focus on social services. That's one difference. The other difference is that they receive the donations and they allocate pretty well all the money out to their member agencies, where we would put it into a trust account. Again, very simplistically, some people would say United Way is a checking account for the community, and the Saskatoon Community Foundation is a savings account for the community.
So you mentioned the fact that you're a 360-degree grantor, that a number of organizations can be receiving support from the Community Foundation here in Saskatoon. It's going into granting season, I understand,
right.
and people can be accessing and applying for money from the foundation. How does someone go about doing that, and what's really the process there if someone's watching at home and saying, you know what, I've got a great organization and I think that we should apply for some money?
First of all, I guess I can equate ourselves to maybe the co-op who provides dividends at the end of the year, or the Potash Corporation who applies dividends to the shareholders. The income we earned last year in 2010 will now be dividend out to the community or granted to the community. So if they would check out our website at saskatooncommunityfoundation.ca, they'll see a list of the different granting programs that we're going to have throughout the year. And each one of those programs are staged to give applicant charities an opportunity to apply. And it's a very simple process of applying online and going through the granting process. The grants applications are reviewed and screened by a group of volunteers, and the grants then are eventually approved by our board, and then they're dispersed out to the various charities. And we do that through a very simple one-page grant agreement to make sure that everybody knows what is expected through this grant. We're very diligent about the donors' money that we're handing out and granting, and then the checks are issued and the charities provide the programs that make Saskatoon such a great place to live.
So you mentioned that it's an easy process to get a grant or at least apply for a grant, and that's through a website. I actually was taking a look at your website here today and noticed a really interesting program or initiative that the Community Foundation has called a Youth Advisory Council. Tell me a little bit about that and how that's unique from a lot of other organizations or such as the United Way or other giving.
About 10 years ago, our board decided that we needed to support youth initiatives in our community, and which better way to decide which initiatives were worthy of supporting than having the adjudicators, the panel of judges, so to speak, than youth themselves. So we formed a Youth Advisory Council, and the acronym is YAC, And they set priorities and review the applications, and we've set aside about $40,000 a year for this youth group to review applications and then make those recommendations to our board. So again, very simplistically, this would be youth granting for youth.
Great. So another initiative that I noticed that the Community Foundation is doing these days is the Mayor's Cultural Gala. And from what I could see, this has been a very successful event to raise additional funds for the Community Foundation's endowment. How did that get started, and when is that happening here in 2011?
Well, first of all, in 2011, it'll be the 4th annual. It'll be on September the 24th. And we're looking forward to that. Over the number of years, we've raised a little over $1 million, almost $1.2 million through this gala event. It's hosted by His Worship Donald Atchison, the mayor, and his wife Mardell. And last year we were fortunate to attract the Potash Corp to be the major sponsor for the event. And it's a gala evening. One thing the mayor was very insistent on when we decided to do this gala was that it be a cultural gala, and we focus and highlight Saskatchewan and Saskatoon in particular entertainment. I suggested we maybe needed to bring in some outside talent from New York or Los Angeles, and he would have nothing to do with that. The mayor says we have lots of talent right here in our community. So it's a grand evening. It focuses again on the cultural aspect of our community and raises a very significant amount of money for us.
So you mentioned the talent here in Saskatoon. You mentioned the fact that we have such a dynamic and diverse community. The Community Foundation has just celebrated its 40th anniversary here in Saskatoon. And how do you reflect on the 40 years that you've had in this community and the kind of support that has been given to the foundation by people of all walks of life?
Well, it's true. We received the donations from the very amount of $10 sometimes. And last year, at the beginning of 2010, we were very proud to announce the largest gift we'd ever received, and one of the largest in the history of Saskatchewan, was $3 million from the estate of Vernon Claire Welker. And Mr. Welker and his wife Claire used to run a menswear store in Saskatoon, and they donated $3 million. So our donations come from $10 to $3 million that people. So you don't have to be rich to give to the Community Foundation. Very significantly also, last year we announced for the first time in our history that we were able to grant $1 million to the community from our endowment, which is quite a milestone considering that when we started in 1970, and I think our first grant was $600 to an organization called the Council for Crippled Children, I believe it was called back then, which is now the Saskatchewan Abilities Council. So we had gone from $600 a year in 1971 to about $89,000 20 years later in 1990, and now to $1 million a year from in 2010. So the growth has been exponential.
So is there one particular moment that sticks with you and the kind of granting and work in the community that you've done with the foundation that just exemplifies for you why Saskatoon is such a great place to live?
Well, we make over 100 grants every year, maybe closer to 150, so it's kind of difficult to find a single grant. You know, in the last couple of years, we've made larger than normal grants, I guess you'd say. We call them signature grants. We bought a food truck, a delivery truck for CHEP, Good Food Program, and we've seen what benefits that will allow their clients to have a better food nutrition program. We've helped the Friendship Inn with some participation in purchasing a van. You're going to see very shortly a new accessibility trail that leads down from the skating shack, so to speak, on the riverbank of the Meewasin down to the riverbank near the Besborough. So those are some of the things. We've helped with Persephone Theatre in their building. We have an endowment set up that provides annual income of about $80,000 to Persephone to help them continue on. So there's lots of recent highlights at the foundation that we're starting to make some major differences.
So, and if someone wants to make a major difference in the Community Foundation by making a contribution, whether it's $10 or $3 million, how can they go about doing that?
They could call our office to start with, 665-1766, or they were located on 4th Avenue, 308 4th Avenue North, between 24th and 25th. And we'd be most pleased to discuss people's wishes and needs in terms of philanthropy. We operate on a confidential basis if they would want to. We deal with estates and that type of thing, and plan gifts. So we respect the confidentiality of our donors. If they choose, we like to tell the people about other people's generosity. We think that shows leadership in our community, and people shouldn't be embarrassed or shy about their giving into the community. They should be proud of it because it shows great leadership.
Great. Well, thanks for everything that you're doing and the leadership that you're showing, Trevor, here in our community by being a part of the Saskatoon Community Foundation, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much, Zach.
And that's all today for Saskatoon in Focus. Thanks very much for joining us. Please give us your feedback. We need you to let us know what we can do better with this program and other ideas for questions we can ask our guests or ideas for new guests. So connect with us on Facebook, on Twitter, send us an email, saskatooninfocus@gmail.com, or visit our website, saskatooninfocus.ca. When we work together, we truly can make Saskatoon the best city in the world.